So the other day I was watching Hellsing Ultimate, and I was reminded at how awesome this OVA was. Great animation, over-the-top action scenes and characters, outlines, Asaflow in a Nazi getup, little to no backstory for any of the characters. Overall, I'd say it's a damn good show that's worth watching, and I'm happy that it got a proper ending. And speaking of proper endings, shortly after finishing Hellsing, it was announced that Bleach was finally getting an appropriate ending with them animating the 1000-year Blood War arc. And I'm so hyped! Bleach is back, baby! It's back, and now I feel like #1. Hell yeah! Ah, fuck. It ain't coming out till next year? What the heck? That's 6,488 Shrek long. I can't wait this long. But in my impatience, I was reminded of a strange comic that plagiarized both of these series. I wondered if it was even real, but then I looked it up, and it was. And since this is a new decade, and now the early 2000s and 2010s are now seen as nostalgic, now would be an opportune time to talk about this little comic. Also, since Corona-chan's running amok, we got nowhere to go for a while. Hi everyone, Dino here, and today we'll be looking into this copyright-written fantasy world that is Incarnate. Yes, this actually happened, and it was sold in stores. Now what the hell is Incarnate? On the surface level, it may look like the DeviantArt page owned by the edgy kid in your 8th grade algebra class who's always had his hood up and threatens to shoot up the school, but underneath that surface is a DeviantArt page owned by the edgy kid in your 8th grade algebra class who always had his hood up and threatens to shoot up the school with a generic shonen backstory attached to it. This is a weird beast, with all these Jeff the Killer's OC running around and there's constant fighting, but I'm getting ahead of myself. First we gotta talk about the characters. Our protagonist, Montley, yeah, get it, Motley Crue, is a rambunctious little punk kid who's actually 10,000 years old or whatever, and is gifted with all these demonic powers, and since he has so much power, he sees everything as a bore. And this right here was when everyone's plagiarizing red flags were starting to commence. I mean, look at him, it's just Alucard, but a younger version of himself. It even has the silhouetted eye that Hellsing is known for. Montley is accompanied by his partner in crime, Connor, who, if you ask me, is one of the few redeeming qualities of this entire dumpster fire, because he honestly has the most personality that isn't just being edgy. He's a calm, down-to-earth dude, and is a bit of a comedic relief to this whole shindig. But again, he too is plagiarized. A lot of people say he looks like Ichigo, and I have to agree with them, because look at him. The shape of the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Then we have, oh god, it's straight up Kenpachi. I'm not even joking. Look at him and look at this. It's Kenpachi without a shadow of a doubt. The only difference is his hair color, his militaristic clothing, and weapon. He even pertains his psychotic and over-the-top killer attitude, and I think this frame right here was when everyone started shouting plagiarist. Yeah, your little coincidental disclaimer isn't gonna help you out, little Nikki. Then we have it's Orihime. All he did was change her hair color to blonde. Yeah, oh my god. Are there any original characters? Damn it. Well, I lied. There are a few, like this Anubis guy. He's kinda cool if you ask me. This gremlin creature that dies after 2 panels, and the obligatory goth girl. No pan! Oh, and I almost forgot about the antagonist, this masked cloaked figure who I guess is the big bad of the series, and I'll get to him when I talk about the plot, which is a good time to talk about it. The plot and lore are surprisingly original. Alright, let me explain. In this day and age, nothing is original now. We have so many stories being told at once that we've essentially ran out of ideas, and the only way for there to be a new idea is to use a pre-existing idea and twist it into something new. And here, it kinda works. Sorta. There are these ancient gods that have ruled and terrorized the humans for millennia, but in recent years, the humans have actually found a way to hurt and even kill these gods. And a secret organization have found that solution, and now the gods' days are up. Secret organization, oh my god. Please, they can't rip off Hellsing that much. I mean, it's not like they stole the Hellsing Manor. Damn it! He even stole the manor itself. You're gonna hear from Integra's lawyer soon, Nikki. That's where Mott and Connor come in. During a raid on these gods' warehouses where they talk about stealing all of the gamer girl bathwater of the world, Mott and Connor get taken away and are now servants to Orihime, who's actually the daughter of the conglomerate organization stated previously. Should they disobey her, she dies or just feels bored, she can kill them with a snap of her fingers and wouldn't even care. You heartless bitch. She can kill them cause she implanted them with the spines of their fallen gods. Use their own body parts to kill them, which is a weird concept. I guess fight fire with fire, even though that concept makes no sense if you think about it. You wouldn't rip off Zeus's foot and beat Thor to death with it. But whatever, this is Nikki's pet project. We have to be nice and gentle and give him nice firm kisses on the toes, you know. Mott, being the male tsundere, doesn't like being Orihime's pet and wants to get the hell out of there, so he does whatever he can to leave, but can't, while his buddy is enjoying the high life of living in a mansion. Also, Nick tries to establish a relationship with Connor and that goth girl, but it's pretty generic, just like her late 2000s fashion statements. What the fuck? I get what Nikki's trying to do here, trying to establish a world, lore, characters, and backstories. It's understandable, but it's just plagued by its generic shonen archetype and blatant plagiarism. I mean, look at this dude. It's just Bastalordi Ichigo. Look! All he did was just give it a xenomorphic style to it and said done, print it, and no one will ever find out. But people did find out because Sodley doesn't run in the Simmons family. And speaking of which, I get what he was trying to do here. Establish Mott's power level and potential he has for the future fights. But I can't take it seriously when it looks like the lost pages for Tails gets trolled. Oh yeah, speaking of which, the gods are upset by Mod and Connor because now they're simping for this bootleg Orihime and they declare war on their asses. But hey, we got this lovely scene.
You've always been like this, Mod. This is why the others don't trust you. Why do you resist your rightful place? Reclaim your godhood and go to war with me. We can create a society that could nullify all others. An everlasting empire!
Oh, and there's this big cloak guy with masks who knows everything about Mott, so he's obviously the final boss. His whole gig is to be as ominous as possible about monologues and how Mott's a little bitch or something like that. There's also this death god that appears just 2 times. We don't really know anything about him other than he appears when one of these gods are close to death, and he mimics their faces but with black eyes. I guess if the comic would have continued, we would have learned more about this dude, but I'm guessing he's their ruler or some shit like that. But as it stands, the majority of the characters are all over the top edgy. The only characters that have some personalities are Connor and the girls. Like I said before, Connor can act like a decent human being when he's not punching people, and the girls are alright. Orihime is just Orihime, but also not Orihime, because unlike Orihime, she actually can stand her ground, be assertive, and show some bravery. Goth Girl is just that chill goth girl that you hung out with behind the bleachers in high school. That's it. I'm surprised she didn't take off in popularity. The internet loves goth girls for whatever reason.
And now, our feature presentation.
That's right, I'm gonna be talking about the art style. This art style is bad, like really bad. Just look at it. As stated previously, it looks like an edgy DeviantArt 8th grader fan art, but it isn't. It's worse than that. It's crystal clear that Nick read How to Draw Manga by Katie just once and thought, hey, I'm gonna mash these 2 pre-existing IPs and make Incarnate, and no one will ever notice. This is essentially Nick Simmons' Sonichu. The only difference is that Incarnate got published and Sonichu lives in a dump. When I think of Incarnate, I just think of plagiarism. Every scene is either traced from Bleach, Hellsing, or even some fan art, and the scenes that aren't traced are mediocre at best. This is so bad that I decided to contact 2 of my best friends, Raysama, part-time professional artist and full-time Chad, and Random Hiri, a professional animator who's done several works such as the Freaky Fred Reanimated Project, The Simpsons, and Ball Masters, to name a few. And here's what they both had to say about this.
Okay, we got Sanji from One Piece after listening to the Black Parade and painting his nails. That's pretty epic. The only thing that's really concerning to me is like this goth chick's like body structure. Her body is way too long. She looked like she was in the stretcher and they stretched her for way too long. People will be like, they'll be more like weirded out by like this guy's scars, but no, I'm worried about this body structure. You gotta learn how to draw anatomy, dude. I'm seeing so many similarities to like Bleach, Fairy Tail, One Piece. There's just too many to like count. It's like no individuality in this at all. It's just like copying things. This art style is so inconsistent. Like every like frame, everyone looks different. Every panel, everyone has a different face. This is not consistent at all.
Lo que no me gusta de este cómic principalmente es la anatomía, la cual presenta bastantes fallas en medidas o en construcciones estructurales. En cuanto al estilo, pudiéramos decir que es un poco particular, pero no es de mi agrado totalmente, especialmente las expresiones y tal vez el delineado tampoco imprime mucha fuerza en los personajes. Otra cosa que también puede ser crítica es que en muchas páginas hay mucha ausencia de fondos, donde siempre aparece solamente blanco, y aunque no uses imágenes completas para fondos, también puedes colocar texturas y ese tipo de cosas o colores que te ayudan a mejorar el cómic. En este caso hay muchas páginas que fallan en ese sentido. Particularmente si tenemos que poner alguna puntuación entre el 1 y el 10 para el estilo de dibujo de este manga, yo usaría un 4.5 aproximadamente. En sí no es de mi agrado.
One more thing I'd like to add is the fact that this comic doesn't have an art style. What do I mean by this? Think of any cartoon, anime, comic, manga, video game out there. The first thing you notice is how it's presented in its art style and how the style will translate throughout the series. What will it look like and what are they trying to convey? Do you want an over-the-top cartoon series? Have a cartoony art style. Do you want your show to look awesome? Have an awesome style. Do you want to convey a serious tone? Have a more realistic style, and so on and so forth. Every series has a distinct art style that distinguishes them on what type of story they want to tell, and it's the foundation foundation of any storytelling, but Incarnate doesn't have a foundation because it doesn't have an art style. It's just ripping off two established art styles and they don't mesh well, and everything looks inconsistent because of that mashup. Sometimes it looks like Bleach, sometimes Hellsing, sometimes Death Note, though that could be attributed to anime's blatant rhinophobia. Literally the only thing that is original is this goth girl, and since she isn't plagiarized, we can finally determine the quality of Nick's work, and like I said earlier, it's bare bones and basic at best. With so much negativity going towards this, how the hell did this thing get published? Well, have you noticed a trend? Nick Simmons, all these rock references, the edgy art? We'll take a wild guess on who Nick is related to. That's right, Nicky's dad is the washed up rock star whose only major appearance in recent years was in a Scooby-Doo movie where he was a Power Ranger ripoff. What? Gene Simmons, I mean, even being a wash-up, he's still worth a pretty penny. Gene obviously pulled some strings so his son could make his weird fanfic come to life, but that eventually caught up with him. After so many people calling him a plagiarist, and it even got to the point where Tite Kubo got involved, and his only response was, quote, "I'm more concerned in the fact that Gene Simmons' son is a mangaka than whether he's plagiarizing me or not," end quote. And he didn't even bother suing him because it wasn't even worth his time or effort. But the damage was already done. They ceased all production of the comic and physical copies, so you can no longer buy it unless you can find scalpers that sell it for a high price. But after what we witnessed, would anyone even bother buying them? You're basically buying stolen art that's loosely tied together with a basic shonen plot, and you can honestly find it online if you look hard enough. It's okay at best and copyright striked at worst. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that this existed at some point and is now gone, just a faded memory. Before I go, I'd like to say a huge thanks for my friend Raysama. He did all my avatars and is an awesome artist whose work is extremely amazing, albeit on the risque side.
And you kiss your mother with that mouth?
I'd highly recommend you follow him. And with all that said, this has been Dino, and have a great day, folks. Also, what the fuck's up with this guy's face?